Hello students, once more slide on what is a syllable, how to count syllables properly. So let us discuss. According to text in today's lesson, I am going to answer the question what is syllable, and more importantly allow also teach you how to count syllables inside words. The topic counting syllables get introduced to people in primary school. Okay, so what is a syllable? Syllable, number of syllables in a word corresponds to a number of sections that stand out inside the word. What number of syllables? The number of syllables in a word, right, corresponds to the number of sections that stand out inside the word. So that's in a word, that number of syllables, right, means number of sections are there. For example, ephemeral, ephemeral, right? So that's ephemeral this way. Okay, now the sounds that stand out are the vowels and syllabic consonants, LMN. When a vowel sound stands out inside a word is prominent, it has a kind of magnetic attraction which is capable of drawing consonants too. So that nuclear has magnetic power and it attracts consonants. Importantly, we are not going to the smallest possible level of detail and counting every individual sounds, phonemes in a word. To count the number of syllables in a word, we must count at the level above that. For example, consider the word problems. At the smallest word level of sound, the word problems. So that's the problems. Contains 8 individual sound phonemes, PROBLEMS, right? If you often then zoom out a little, the word problems is consists of 2 syllables, prob and lems. Finally, if we zoom out further, we can say that the word problems is a single word. Why? Let us see. It's a problems is a single word. Problems. So important thing, you were probably taught at school that the number of syllables inside a word corresponds to the number of vowels that it contains. However, this is an oversimplification which can lead to mistake when counting syllables. Means it is not necessary that all vowels are or we can say that number of syllables inside a word corresponds to number of vowels. Means how many vowels are there according to vowels and syllables are the same, but they are saying that it lead to mistakes when counting syllables, but it's not like that. Why? This is because the syllabic consonants L, M, N are powerful enough to form syllables that don't require a vowel. So please take care. Very important information. L, M, N are powerful enough to form syllables. So they don't need vowels. L, M, N. These 3 consonants, right? Example of words containing syllabic consonants are, there's a little, right? So that's LMN. L, little, two syllable word. Why? Because LI and TL, right? So little, right? Two syllabic word. Then hmm. So that is me. One syllable interjection with no vowel sound. That's a this sound, right? So here one syllable interjection without no vowel sound. Important and interesting. Now button. So that's a button. Button. Two syllabic word, right? So that is two syllabic word. So very important thing, this is very important information that sorry that the white why this notion is wrong, that the number of syllables and number of vowels, what how many vowels are in a word, will be counted as number of syllables, in other words. So that leads mistake. Why this is because syllabic consonants, what consonant, LMN, are power enough to form syllables, so they don't need vowel, right? We have seen example. Notice that in the example words above, the mark under LMN symbols, right? LMN symbols is there uh, to denote a syllabic consonants. So they are also syllabic consonants. So that symbols are called syllabic consonants. Important, right? Now, if you have never seen these strange phonetic symbols before, don't be overwhelmed by them. Most dictionaries don't think that it is necessary to go into the level of details when transcribing words. Okay, leave it. That's a something we are going to discuss later. Why knowing about syllables is important for your English? What's the significance of syllables? Learning how to properly count number of syllables inside a word benefits your English in a number of ways. Pronunciation benefits. If we have knowledge about syllables, so first is pronunciation benefits. Why? Understanding syllables makes your English sound much more natural, because it improves your sense of English rhythm. Important. Sense of English rhythm for upper, intermediate and advanced students. You can't apply word stress properly unless you have a good understanding of syllables. So very important. We can't uh, we can't use stress properly unless we have a good understanding of syllable, which is important. That's why pronunciation benefits. Reading benefits. Correctly segmenting words into syllables makes you a faster reader and can tackle extremely long words such as anti disestablishmentarianism, anti see anti disestablishmentarianism, right? So that's a 12 syllable word, but if you have syllable knowledge, then reading will be improved. Then spelling benefits. Breaking up words into chunks, just now I did, that's a chunks or syllables, makes you a far better speller, right? So that's a spelling benefits, because you cut syllable wise and remember the word. Artistic benefits. Knowing about syllables will make you a much better poet naturally, because you know that where to break the word and how to speak. Now, why counting syllable is difficult for some students? So, counting the number of syllables inside a word is difficult for students of English. There are few main reasons for this. Firstly, the length of English syllable is uneven. So English syllable length is uneven. Then some are short and some are long. This could be different to how syllables operate in your native language, right? So take for example the word a and strengths, right? A and strengths. Remarkably, both words are one syllable word. Very important. Word A and strength, right? Both are one syllable word. So A is one syllable, but strength, right? So that's a strength, one syllable word, right? Okay. A second reason is that the widely taught clapping technique for counting syllable does not always work. Third, a third reason that some students struggle with the topic is because they have intervened their own pronunciation of English words. So that is also not worked properly, and this happens a lot of students who mostly taught themselves English by reading books or following along with subtitles. This leads them to pronounce words according to the number of vowels that are present in the spelling of word, which in many cases does not correspond to the pronunciation. Means some of sometime what happens, students break the words according to vowel and read it, so that is not always correct. A common example of this is found in one syllable word called, right? So that's a called, which many students incorrectly pronounce as called, two syllables, however it's called. And lastly, students with audio processing difficulties find it more difficult than most to break words up into syllables. What? That students with audio processing difficulties find it more difficult than most to break words up into syllables. This is because they hear sounds differently, which makes the boundaries between syllables seem blurry or unclear. For example, for help with this issue, see, okay, fine. How to count syllables? Important. The best way to learn how to count the number of syllables in a word is to follow along with a demonstration. Watch the video, okay? Now, first is that sound exploration. The first step is exploring sound inside words. This requires practice, right? So that is first is sound exploration. Then syllable breaks. We have to learn to recognize where syllables break, right? Some rules and patterns can help us with this, but there will still be some gray areas. At times it is unclear where a syllable break occurs. Open syllables versus closed syllables. We also have to know the difference between two types of syllables as explained below. Open syllables. An open syllable describes a syllable in a word that is not followed by consonant sound, right? So at last in the word there must be vowel, no consonant or consonant sound, right? This type of consonant is easy to identify at the end of the word, but can also occur in other position. For example, the word see contains a vowel that is not followed by a consonant. This makes it an open syllable. Example, see, that's a open syllable. Okay, open syllable word. Now consider the word seed, right? So in this case, seed, which is a closed syllable word because it ends with final D and D is consonant. The word sea and seed are both one syllable, right? But one is closed, one is open. It is easy to count the number of syllables in words that consist of open syllables. So open syllables means last is vowel. When when the unreliable clapping technique to count syllables works for words like this. Open syllable example, one syllable in length, see, buy, dare. Open syllable example, two syllable in length, before, later, comma. Now closed syllable. Words that contains closed syllable are more difficult for us to count. A closed syllable refers to a vowel that is followed by one or more consonant. Okay, so that definitely at last there will be consonant, right? G, D, K. For example, closed syllable word his, right? So that's a his. We have to consonant T, H before the vowel and S after it, the vowel I in the middle of the syllable, making three sounds in a kind of sandwich, right? So that's a closed syllable. That's a need, make, part, could, search. Notice how there are 6 letters in the spelling, but it is still only one syllable, right? So important, it is only one syllable. Now earth. Now when counting syllable, say each word as naturally as you can. If your pronunciation is too slow and perfect, it can confuse your brain. Okay, now close syllable example, two syllable in length sentence, children, mountain. These are the two syllable sentence, right? Sentence, sentence. Okay, then children, right? So that is children, 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 right? So that's a two syllable word. Okay, now the place where syllables break is shown here with a dash. Sentence, children, mountain. Okay, the three syllable above have a common pattern. Notice that the syllable break where two consonant meet, and also pay special attention to the word mountain, because this word shows us that a single vowel sound can be spelled with more than one letter. Finally, we'll look at two words in close detail. Friends, right? Think of the vowel in the word as a magnet to which consonants can be attracted. In the case of friends, we have two consonants before the vowel and friends, right? So in the two consonants before the vowel and three after it, which create a complex syllable, it is common to that's a friends, right? So friends, right? Simplify the pronunciation of this word by dropping the friends. D is dropped, right? So here D is dropped. Friends, strength, friends ऐसा नहीं बोलते. Now strength, right? So that's a strength. K. The special word provides an example most complex syllable that can be created in English. It has three consonants before the vowel and four after the vowel. This is very difficult word to pronounce even for most native speakers. If you want to cheat with the pronunciation, you can say strengths instead non-standard pronunciation. So that is important. Okay, now we'll discuss later on other things. Thank you so much. God bless you.